yourself, churn, world serves its own needs. Dummy, serve your own needs. Beat it up an ox, beat, grunt, no strength. The ladder starts to clatter with fear, fight down, high. Wire in a fire, represented 7 games in the government for hire in a combat site. Left to west are coming in a hurry with the furies breathing down your neck. Team, my team reporters babble Trump, tether crop, look at that, no plane, fine, then, overflow, population, common food, but it'll do. Save yourself, serve yourself, world serves its own needs. Listen to your heartbeat, dummy with the rapture and the reverend and the right. You patriotic, slam, fight, bright, light, feeling, pretty sight. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. 6 o'clock, TV hour, don't get caught in foreign tower, slash and burn, return. Listen to yourself churn. Lock it in, uniform and book, burning blood, letting every motive escalate. Automotive, incinerate, light a candle, light a motive, step down, watch and heal, crush, this means no fear, cavalier, renegade, steering clear, a tournament of lies. Offer me solutions, offer me alternatives, and I decline. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine. The other night I drifted nice, continental drifted by mountain, sit in a line. Leonard Bernstein, Leonard Brezhnev, Lenny Bruce and Lester Banks, birthday party, cheesecake, jelly bean, boom, you symbiotic, patriotic, slam button, that right. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel
Yes. Hello, Doomsters. It is Music for the End of the World. Once again here on 93.7 Edge FM. And I've just got a disclaimer to make today. I was wrong. Everything is all right in the world, Cass. Everything is fine. There is no overshoot. Collapse is not happening. I was mistaken. Sorry about that, everyone. But of course, it's April Fool's today.
Even though I did tell you it stops at 12 o'clock.
Hello, Cass. Yes, I know you say April Fool's. You can only do April Fool's until 12 o'clock, but it is somewhere before 12 o'clock somewhere in the world. And we know other people listen to it over in Sweden, so they will be April Fool's over there. Anyway, Doom says I'm joined by Cass once again and Hugo. Hello, Hugo.
Hello.
But you're not doing a performance tonight.
No. Simply just a fun personality.
That's
today.
right. That's right. Just a talking head.
Just a font of knowledge, I would say.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
See how many words I get out today.
Well, we're going to have a little look at Professor Elliot Jacobson's, Professor Elliot Jacobson, his code FUBAR. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about, of course, the war over in the Middle East, because that is affecting lots of things, as we have spoken about before. An article from, where's this from? TheRawStory.com about the US barreling towards total collapse within 6 months if the Iran war continues, they reckon. We might have a little look at climate refugees. There's some interesting ones. An article from the phys.org, which is one of the reputable science organisations in the world. I think they're American, saying global human population is pushing Earth past its breaking point. Duh. But they've finally come on board on the overshoot message. And then, of course, food shortages we might have a little chat about too, because things are going to become a little bit strained, Cass, I would say. That's about it, I reckon. And we've got some good music. A lot of new songs that Hugo has chosen. Excellent. Very good. So let's start off straight away, Doomsters, with a song while we get organised here. And what should I say? What is it? Cass, what's the word when something is very...
Ironic.
Not ironic, but fitting for...
Apt.
Apt, yes, but there's another word. Anyway, yes, that'll do. A very apt song. Greed, which is what the Iran war is all about, isn't it? By Marino. Hugo, who's Marino? Obviously not Dan Marino, the ex-quarterback
he's he's a faceless music songwriter from America, I believe, who just sort of makes music from his home sort of bedroom studio.
Contemporary.
I would say so. Yeah.
Faceless, you mean?
As in, he wears a mask. He doesn't.
Himself.
No,
he wears a
doesn't.
mask. Okay.
Would he? He's on social media, so TikTok and Instagram, and he posts things on there, and he doesn't show his face. Yeah, correct.
That's a little bit like
Tism, yes.
I was going to say, Sia also went through that phase. Do you remember?
Well, I think it's really, really common now. Like lots of artists prefer to, especially younger artists, prefer not to have the facing, because then it becomes more about their music rather than what they look like.
Visual,
that's good.
Visual, external aesthetics.
All right, well then, Doomsters,
Bring it
here is Greed by Faceless Marino.
Greed, obsessed with the finest of things. He takes what he wants, his eyes glimmer in green. Don't wanna be a superstar, just wanna have a house and car. But in this cruel society, the prices never go down, you see. I keep saving up while my money keeps counting less. And everybody keeps saying that you're doing your best, but even talking to my therapist is causing me stress, because it don't mean you see. The greatest thief of all time, he walks in plain sight. Some call him a billionaire, but me, I call him by greed, obsessed with the finest of things. He takes what he wants, his eyes glimmer in green. Greed won't rest till he's crowned as a king. From the land to the sea, he'll take all that he needs. Now all I see is his supercar, driving around while I'm working hard. Everybody's complimenting him, looking past his dirty sin. He keeps going up, building cities out from under the ground. No matter what I do, I see his stupid face all around. And worst of all is when I told my therapist what I found. He said, be careful, you see. Before greed was a bad guy, he lived a simple life. Then gold fell beneath his eyes and they all caught him by envy, obsessed with the wealth of a king. He wants what you
please. Envy won't rest till he has what he's seen. From your head to your feet, he wants all that he sees. So 7 cents, don't let him in. The wall lead to your death in the end. Whether it's lust, pride, greed, envy, or gluttony, sloth and wrath, don't choose that path.
Oh, nice. And nice and short too. Very good.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I like it.
interesting. Oh, I like it too. Recorded in his bedroom. All right, Doomsters. Now let's have a look at Elliot Jacobson, Professor Elliot Jacobson. We have referenced him many times on the show. He's one of the small number of scientists prepared to publicly state the reality of our situation. Regards, overshoot and collapse. And he has written an article called Code FUBAR for Everything. And he starts off with a quote from Antonio Guterres, you know, the...
Yeah, UN.
Yeah, what's he called, the chairman of the UN or the head guy? Today's IPCC Working Group 1 report is a code red for humanity. The alarm bells are deafening and the evidence is irrefutable. Now that was from Antonio in 2021. And Professor Jacobson goes on to say he used to use his little posts used to be code yikes or code red alert or something, but he thinks that when nearly every climatic statistic is setting a daily, monthly or all-time record, those phrases aren't strong enough. That's why he has code FUBAR, which of course, Cass, you know, is fucked up beyond all recognition. I think it comes from the military maybe, originally. But anyway, things are bad with code FUBAR. But he goes on to say that meanwhile, while the more dire the predicament, as it is every day, the less attention it seems to get in the media. For example, on US broadcast TV, there was a 25% decline in climate segments between 2023 and 24. In 25, global newspaper coverage fell 14% compared to 2024 and was 38% lower than 2021. This is stories in the news. And while climate records are being broken almost every day, the momentum of political arrogance, industrial greed and societal ignorance is accelerating us. This is Jacobson, towards a grotesque and uninhabitable planet. The sixth great extinction, as we know, where almost every living creature is at risk. Because it's not just humans, we're not just endangering ourselves, we're taking just about everything else down with us. So it's no longer code yikes or any of that, it's code FUBAR for everything. So here are all the climate records that Professor Jacobson has been posting on social media. Record high daily global 2 metre surface temperature. The last March 26 was the hottest March on record since 1940. And he says it's about 1.55 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial baseline. But that's the 1850 to 1900 IPCC pre-industrial baseline. If you go back earlier, like 1820 or something, it's probably nearly 2 degrees. So that's the 2 metre surface temperature is at all-time high, record high, and then the 36-month running average for the global 2 metre surface temperature is at an all-time high. Because you get some complete morons, you know, like on Sky News and stuff, who it's a cold day, and so they go out, oh, where's the global warming, you know, blah, blah, blah. Because,
Absolutely.
you know.
Interesting you say that, because I saw also there was an article, I think Guardian and the ABC, which was looking at, talks about misinformation and the dilemma of misinformation in the public
Sphere.
Mm-hmm. And there was a Senate report, but where they're actually, they're actually sort of starting to identify the fact that there is so much dis and misinformation out there in regards to the climate climate information that, urging the government to tackle that. And I think keep going. Well, one of it's recommended that the federal government officially endorse the Declaration on Information Integrity and Climate Change, which was launched at COP30, and adopt the UN Global Principles for Information Integrity. It's just interesting that I know that nothing's being done, but it's just interesting. At least you're seeing a little bit more in the public domain of people acknowledging the fact that there is disinformation. That report also goes on more than just actually the fact of lack of accurate information in the public sphere for climate change. Also, then and obviously the reason for that, it explores the reason for that, which is the fact that you've got all these corporations and multinationals who are funding. All the right wing, like the CPAC and the APAC, and therefore moving into it. So again, that call, which is call. There's a whole bunch of think tanks here, all funded by the billionaires and the right wingers. I like this term. I have to see. And actually, most of the coalition ministers have come through those think tanks. Well, they talk about astroturfing. Have you heard about that? Yes, that is familiar. The hearing, this sort of the Senate hearing that was called into this disinformation about climate change. It also heard concerns about the growing use of astroturfing as a mainstream political tactic in Australia, where so-called grassroots campaigns are in fact not highly coordinated and well-financed, and definitely not grassroots, to think tanks, commercial and corporate interests, lobby groups, donors or political parties. Advance Australia is a good example of that. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. Anyways, I just think it's interesting that while it's not addressing the problem, is that at least those kinds of issues are coming much more to the fore, and we're not pretending that we have a strong, open, transparent media and sharing of information. My opinion, if you're waiting for the Albanese government to recognise anything the UN says or does, you'll be waiting for a long time, because they can't even recognise war criminals or genocide, which the UN has said many times is happening. So, I doubt it very much. But that's interesting. Yeah, astroturfing. They make it like it's a grassroots thing, but it's not. It's funded by the billionaires, because they don't want us. They want us to fight amongst ourselves. They don't want us to start thinking about the billionaires themselves, who are causing all the problems. Anyway, back to Professor Jacobson. He says that this current 36-month average of the 2-metre surface temperature is the highest running average probably in the last 120,000 years. Next one, record daily global sea surface temperature. Mainly between 60 and 60 degrees south, 60 degrees north latitudes. We don't get the data. We got it from March the 27th. So we won't know about the last few days, but it is the highest recorded sea surface temperature ever. And then, of course, a strong El Nino is apparently forecast to develop later this year, which, of course, usually brings hotter temperatures. That's sort of the general rule of thumb. Then we've got another climate record low annual Arctic sea ice extent. So Arctic sea ice extent hits its yearly maximum each year in late February, because it's the northern hemisphere's winter, to about mid-March. And this year saw a record low maximum extent of sea ice, being the previous record low maximum set, when did you think? Last year. By just over 25,000 square kilometres. That's how much less it was than last year. This is the amount of sea ice, the area that it covers. So that's the sea ice extent. And then, of course, that's the annual Arctic sea ice extent. Then the low daily Arctic sea ice extent is the lowest ever. Set a new record low for the past 13 days in a row, coming up to the 27th of March. And then we've got the record low 36-month running average for the Arctic sea ice thickness. So not only the area, but how thick the ice is in that area. And that is at a record low as well. And actually, he gets the data from Biomass, which I'm not sure what organisation that is. It's an American
scientific organisation, which has just been defunded by Trump.
I was going to say, there's also going to be a lack of information out there with all of the, funding to US agencies that have been stripped.
Because Trump believes, if you don't talk about the bad news, there is no bad news. Then, of course, next one, record low 36-month average for the Earth albedo. Do you remember what the albedo is, you two? Hugo's looking a bit puzzled. Cass?
Hugo knows. We were just talking about it before.
The albedo.
Please feel free to refresh.
It is how well the Earth reflects the heat back that we get from the sun. It's the data from SARES, it's a couple of months behind the data. So the latest is available from January this year, and it shows a new record low for the Earth albedo. So we are absorbing more heat. We are not reflecting
less.
Yes.
Yep.
And the primary driver of this loss of albedo is, have a guess.
It's going to be the aerosols?
Maybe, but the biggest ones is a change in cloud cover and the loss of sea ice. Because the sea ice is white, reflects a lot of that heat back. And when you've got 25,000 square kilometres less, that's a big area that's not reflecting back. Speaking of which, I saw the other day that, I couldn't believe this, but in the south of Spain, down in Andalusia, they're the biggest, they grow vegetables in plastic hothouses. It's huge. Like, I'm talking thousands of square kilometres. You can see it from space, all the plastic of the greenhouses. It feeds like, I think it can feed close to 1 billion people or something. The amount of vegetables they, like capsicums, tomatoes, cucumbers, all that sort of stuff. But anyway, you can see it from space. So there you go. Okay, so we've got the albedo. Any other climate records? Yes. The 36-month rate of CO2 emissions. And of course, actual CO2 emissions is setting a new record year after year. It's actually never gone down. Ever. Actually, I think during COVID it may have decreased a bit.
Exactly.
COVID was the only time.
And all of that demonstrates is that if to do anything, you have to take some incredibly radical action, which means stop all
not going to happen.
All of that production and emissions. Yeah, which is right. I mean, except for the fact that obviously the current global situation and the fuel shortages is going to actually also force countries into reduction in their emissions, just purely because they won't have the fuel to operate all their machinery and
so we've got the albedo effect, which is at an all-time low. We've got the record high 36-month running average for the total column of precipitable water, and that is precipitable water is the total amount of water vapour contained in a vertical column of the atmosphere from the Earth's surface up to the top of the atmosphere. So you just take a particular area, and that column of precipitable water is greater because as the planet warms up, the atmosphere can hold more water vapour. So for every 1 degree of warming, the atmosphere can hold about 7% more water vapour, hence more flooding, more tropical storms, etc.
And that's what you're seeing, isn't it? That's the constant thing. I'm just reflecting, I think, again, like on the Solomon Islands, and noting that our friend and hopefully other family members in Solomon Islands are listening, that, they're looking at, heavy rains and because of poor road drainage, that just, endless more. And
they know that the temperature is rising. They all tell us that it's hotter than it used to be. Yeah. But of course, and a big hello to our Solomon friends and family over there too. Not everything is a record though, according to Professor Jacobson. For example, the 36-month running average for the Earth energy imbalance is about 11.25 Hiroshimas per second. That's down from a record high of more than 13 in late 2023. Antarctic sea ice extent currently ranks the 10th lowest for this date so far. And the rate of methane growth has slowed a little bit. So, apart from that though, it is code FUBAR, my friend. Code FUBAR. All right. For all our listeners, what are we going to play, Hugo? What would you like? You've got She and Him, Talk, Fleet Foxes. What would you flag?
So I had to run over and look at what songs I'd picked. I'd almost forgotten. I'll leave it up to you, Chris.
Okay. I think we might have, some of the those evil billionaires might be thinking about this, running away to Mars. I know a lot of them are coming to down south, particularly in New Zealand and Tasmania. But anyway, this is Talk. And who are Talk, Hugo?
I really wish I could give you some more information on that, sorry.
We'll do some research while the song's playing.
Anyway, it's by Talk and it's called Runaway to Mars, Doomsters.
Colors fading, 'cause I kept you waiting. It's a wild, wild world, and you're a wild, wild girl. Our sun's still shining, but it seems half the size, and it's a wild, wild world out here. Before my time runs out, what if I run away to Mars? Would you find me in the stars? Would you miss me in the end if I run out of oxygen? When I run away to Mars, I can't tell which way's home. I've been gone for so long, it's an empty world up here. I skip stones and wonder how long till I'm discovered. It's a quiet life up here. Before my time runs out, what if I run away to Mars? Would you find me in the stars? Would you miss me in the end if I run out of oxygen when I run away to Mars? 3, 2, 1, I miss you. I'm sorry I got issues. What if I run away to Mars? Would you find me in the stars? Would you miss me in the end if I run out of oxygen when I run away to Mars?
One thing I got to do while I'm in Bega is go to the record store.
Bega has a record store?
Yeah, Sugar Sounds. They have thousands of vinyl records, CDs, tapes, DVDs and books. They even have turntables and sound equipment. Plus, they buy collections.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's just in Cup Street, upstairs at number 203. Go and say hello to Greg. He can find what you're looking for. And they're open Tuesdays to Saturday.
Okay, I will. Oh, wait, I'll come with you.
All right.
So, what was the first vinyl record you ever bought anyway?
Monkey Grip, the EP by the Divinals. Yeah, saw it doing last week. Thinking to find it back.
This summer, for all your snake problems, ring Phil from Reptile Rescue and Relocation Service, your local licensed snake handler, on 0423 623 975. Phil is available 24 hours, 7 days a week, covering Eden to Bermagui and surrounds. 0423 623 975.
Thank you, dear sponsors. You're listening to Music for the End of the World here on 93.7 Edge FM. And hello to everyone who's listening. We are talking about, some of the effects of the Iran war. We're talking about Professor Jacobson's code FUBAR before. But an interesting post by Kevin Hester, who I have referenced on the show before. He's talking about a new analysis of the aerosol masking effect, which is, do you know what the aerosol masking effect is, you two?
Yes, isn't it the fact that the aerosols provide like a...
Aerosols helped. The albedo effect help to
provide the reflections.
reflect the radiation and heat from it.
Yeah.
And of course we have
reduced our aerosol.
We have, because I remember when I was younger we had, all the fridges and stuff, they had to change, and so they've stopped a lot of the aerosol pollution because it's bad for your health. It was destroying the ozone layer. But on the other hand, it's letting more heat in. It's a bit of a false Faustian bargain, You're damned if you do and if you're damned if you don't. But like Kevin says, most of the emissions and most of the people on the planet live in the northern hemisphere. So it stands to reason that the northern hemisphere will therefore heat up faster than the south. Of course, another reason why it'll heat up faster, well, it is heating up faster, is because we have Antarctica, which is the biggest block of ice on the planet. Of course, the tipping point for Antarctica has been crossed. But it's a huge, enormous mass, does have a bit of a buffeting effect on the heat. So as a consequences of our folly accelerates in the northern hemisphere, Kevin writes, we will see climate change refugees heading south. But these are not your traditional refugees. These ones will fly in private jets and arrive dressed in Armani and Hugo Boss. The tech bros, like Peter Thiel, one of Trump's backers, they're bunkering down there in the South Island in New Zealand. Russian oligarchs like Alexander Abramov, doesn't he own Chelsea or something like that, Hugo?
Alexander Abramov.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, they're all billionaires. They own everything. He bought land at Helena Bay, where he built a luxury lodge. And then apparently they were saying there was a constant stream of concrete trucks going up to the site. But all the concrete disappeared underground. So, draw your own conclusion of what's happening there, Cass. Yes, I think New Zealand and Tasmania is very popular with all the billionaires building their bunkers. So that's what's happening in terms of global warming. Let's have a look at the Iran war. This is from the Honest Sorcerer, and we've quoted him before, Cass. He's saying that businesses don't burn crude oil, like tractors or trucks or something. They need diesel made in refineries. And the biggest source of diesel, of course, is the Middle East. So that's taken out of the picture. a global shortage of heavy transportation fuels arise very quickly. And that's the issue with the war over the Middle East, isn't it? It's the lack of fuel. It's not the GDP or the WTI future prices or the stock market or any other economic crap out there. It's the actual fuel that we don't have. And if you just take a look at the record-shattering price difference between crude oil and refined diesel is huge. I mean, crude oil a barrel is still expensive, but diesel is super expensive. I mean, it's over $3 here in Australia. And then, of course, it doubles the shipping fuel costs. So businesses are paying more. So even though we think, and a lot of people don't think about the war over in the Middle East, it's affecting all of us globally. And of course, you look at the news, there's a little bit about de-escalation or negotiations starting to spread, but nothing's changed. Nothing's changed in the real world, only in the financial la-la land. You know, the up and down, you know, the prices and things like that. And even as some nations manage to buy or negotiate their way through the strait, like I think there's a couple of boats, tankers going through every day, mainly to China, I think. And
I think didn't Iran say though that they haven't
Some
closed
can.
the strait, that they will only
Not American.
anyone that is not an enemy or that's not attacking
Yeah.
anyone who's attacking Iran, they're stopping their boats going through. But
we're only
if
talking about a
you're-
handful of ships, 2 or 3, not like 20 or 30 every day used to go through. And so to think what is going to happen is a really tough thing. I mean, maybe there's an attempt to land US Marines on Karg Island. You know, that's the Iranians' top export terminal for oil. Or launching a joint strike with the UAE on the islands in the Strait of Hormuz, or sneaking special ops guys in to try to blow up uranium stockpiles, or launch a devastating strike on the uranium power grid like Trump keeps going on about, or to drop tactical nukes somewhere on the underground missile storage facilities, or, you know, any of that sort of stuff. But as such, any of that sort of thing would only likely result in an Iranian retaliation, of course, destroying the electrical grid, the oil infrastructure, water desalination plants in the Gulf Arab countries and Israel. Needless to say, that sort of thing would just plunge the world economy into a huge, deep depression, but also a huge humanitarian crisis. But you see, he keeps going on about that, yes, there's all this fighting going on, but the real economic trouble is just about to begin because of the time lag between things, Cass. So ships unloading crude oil this week in various Asian and European ports started their journey just before Israel and US attacked Iran, like a month ago. Because the past few weeks were a holiday from reality, really, with ships arriving just according to schedule like they've always been, oil being unloaded as usual. All the dock workers still working normally, but all that is about to change very, very quickly. Because when they pass through the Strait of Hormuz, they've probably got about 20 to 30 days until they reach Japan, say, for tankers. So that's the lag period. So, but now that the ships have suddenly stopped coming, refineries have begun to dip into their on-site storage, which can be anywhere between 40 or 70 days. I think Australia's about 30 days, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Australia's actually one of the lowest. When you
We
look
are
at all
one
the
of the
other
lowest.
countries. It's bizarre. It's bizarre that we have such a low.
China's got about 300 days, I was reading. Yeah, so things are starting to get real. Then you're going to start to see shortages and stuff like that.
And then you look at, you know, I mean, you're talking at the moment from the perspective of Western countries and those things, but you look what's going to happen to our closest neighbours around the Pacific. So you
I'm
look
thinking
at
exactly
Nauru,
all the
you look
Pacific
at
countries.
Kiribati, you look at even like Seoul.
The Souls, they all rely on diesel.
They rely
for power.
on that fuel, and they rely on the boats to come in to bring food stocks in because they're not they can't produce the food in the country. So what happens? You're talking about whole countries that are going to be, you know, massively impacted.
Well, when Aldrin was here, I was
before.
talking to him saying that, I mean, if there's an upside, the upside in the Solomons say is that most people, 80% live in their villages where they can subsistence farm and fish, and so they don't necessarily have to rely on the boats coming in bringing food supplies. And maybe that's what everyone will have to do in Honiara, go back to their villages.
But again, you're still going to have connectivity because there's going to be no fuel for Apple motors, and so people are going to be very isolated. So it's all well and good to be on islands and provinces, but you actually going to have to go back really to, you're going to have to go back to very traditional subsistence living to get by.
Well, the Honest Sorcerer here says that, about 10 months of fuel reserves in China, 5 months in Japan, 4 months in India, only about 2 months in South Korea. They're one of the lowest, and even less in Australia, probably about 1 month. So even if the crisis were to end tomorrow, he says, which it won't, but even if it did, many Asia-Pacific countries will still have to face, as we've saying, Cass, actual physical shortages. Because oil and gas production would take anywhere from months to years to recover, to get things back online and stuff like that. Plus, at least another month on top of all that, getting it back for ships to travel and come. Yeah. So, and even then, the deliveries will be a little bit sporadic and unreliable because not all capacity comes online instantly. Not to mention the insurance coverage for ships. Big things happening. And we will be talking a little bit more about the first, but now another song. What are we going to have? I think we might have She and Him. Do you know anything about them, Hugo?
Once again, no, I'm really sorry. I just enjoy the songs.
Yes, it is a great song.
And sometimes it's nice just to go with people that you like.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is She and Him, and it is I Thought I Saw Your Face Today.
I saw your face today, but I just turned my head away, your face against the trees. But I just see the memories as they come, and I couldn't help but fall in love again. No, I couldn't help but fall in love again. I saw it glitter as I grew and loved it. Why I never knew. I thought this place was heaven sent, but now it's just a monument in my mind, and I couldn't help but fall in love again. No, I couldn't help but fall in love again. The cars and freeways implore me to stay away out of this place. My mother said just keep your head and play it as it lays. The cars and freeways implore me to stay away out of this place. My mother said just keep your head and play as it lays. I somehow see what's beautiful and things that are ephemeral. I'm my only friend of mine. Love is just a piece of time in the world. And I couldn't help but fall in love again. No, I couldn't help but fall in love again. No, I couldn't help but fall in love again. No, I couldn't help but fall in love again.
Oh, what a great song by the mysterious She and Him.
American duo.
American duo. Thank you, Cass.
We've since found out that the she is also an actress.
Oh, what's her name?
Zoe.
Zoe.
Zoe Deschanel.
She's an actress, is she? Okay.
Yeah, she's in shows like New Girl. She was in Elf.
Okay. All right, nice. All right, we're talking about the lack of fuel, people. And I'm going to be listing a few things that have been happening in Southeast Asia due to that. But before we do, I'm playing another song because we're running out of time. It's almost 1:45. And this song is for all our Solomon friends over there, particularly my brother from another mother, Aldrin. This is for you, bro. I miss you. Looking forward to next year. And this is it's not a Solomon song, Cass, but it's a song we used to play in the Solomons just about every gig, I think. And it always got the crowd rocking. It's by the Doobie Brothers, one of my favourites. And it's Long Train Running. Remember this one, Arlo? Here it is.
Need a broken window fixed, glass doors or shower screen? For all types of glass replacement or mirrors cut to size, call Bega Valley Glass on 0417 545 498. Bega Valley Glass, sponsor 93.7 Edge FM.
Thank you, sponsors. All right. That was Long Train Running the Doobie Brothers. That was always popular at the gigs, I must say, over there. All right. All right, Doomsters, back to the fuel shortages that's happening. Now, over in Southeast Asia, there's a lot of import-dependent countries, and stress signals have already started. Authorities have ordered employees to work from home across Asia. They've cut the working week in some countries. They've declared national holidays and closed universities early in order to conserve their supplies. Even China's making adjustments, trying to limit a fuel price hike there. And apparently at gas stations across Hanoi in Vietnam, sold-out signs have started to appear. In South Africa, apparently 75% of farmers indicated that they do not have access to fuel. And in some cases, receive as little as 20% of their usual monthly diesel allowance. The Philippine president declared a national energy emergency as fuel prices doubled and as vegetable farmers have been forced to stop planting. And on Thursday, transport workers went on strike over missed payments and inadequate government support. In the meantime, India, of course, grapples with a severe LPG shortage because, of course, we know that the gas is coming through there as well from the Middle East, with restaurants facing catastrophic closures and homes, small businesses, crematoriums having to switch back to burning wood and coal, if they can. And cooking, you know, like they use a lot of gas for cooking over in India. The gas shortage have prompted an exodus of migrant workers leaving cities for their home states, going back to their villages, where biomass cooking, you know, timber, that sort of stuff, remains accessible. Yes, it's they've called for reductions in air conditioning. They're enforcing fuel rationing and directing limited fuel supplies to essential locations, e.g. hospitals.
I wonder if any cities, you know, any of the sort of big cities around the world, if they're actually sort of changing their, you know, in aiming to reduce their energy consumption, turning off some lights. Because when you think of how many lights are on in the big cities, just for, you know, buildings and streets. I appreciate the need for lighting. There's a whole lot of safety issues around having areas lit. But when you look at those, you know, look at buildings like massive multi-storey buildings with
all the
lights, you know.
But I remember when we were in our 20s, Cass, and they had a big blackout in New York. Remember, for like 24 hours or something? So the whole city was in complete darkness. And when the day came, and the morning came, it was huge. There had been huge rioting and people breaking in and complete chaos, anarchy.
Yeah,
and that's only like one night. Of
that's right.
blackout.
Well, that's the danger, isn't it? Is that our society is so in such a societies are in such a fragile point that things like that, and particularly when people are scared about you know, shortages.
Yes, and governments have, you know, particularly the governments in Southeast Asia where they're doing all these things, are in a bit of a trap because subsidising fuel prices are likely to cause a budget deficit and lead to actual physical shortages by not limiting demand, right? But then sharp rises in fuel prices, on the other hand, is likely to end in strikes and popular uprisings and something we're seeing happening in the Philippines. So, you know, what do they do? I mean, in Australia here, Albanese's just cut the excise, I think, in half or something. But is that going to make people limit their...
No, that's right. Well,
probably not.
Well, what we know is that when there are shortages of anything, that people get into a panic mode, and it's and I mean it's very hard, isn't it, to discern between what are your critical. And
all this combined with fertiliser shortages, because we know that a lot of the ingredients for fertiliser comes through the Middle East. Delayed planting due to the lack of this and lack of diesel fuel, and the resulting slump in the crop yields. The situation is going to get way, way worse, no matter what the authorities do or don't do. But hey, well, crude oil prices are still below $100, so nothing to worry about there. And of course, it's not just petroleum products, gas deliveries too. And you don't really have, a lot of countries don't have reserve stocks of gas. They have reserve stocks of
fuel.
Yeah. but not gas. And so, especially small businesses and agricultural companies will be forced to close soon. Take Pakistan, which imports 99% of its liquefied natural gas from the Gulf. 99%. So its last cargoes from Qatar arrived on the second and third days of the Iran war. So forcing 2 of its LNG terminals to scale down operations already. And is expected to stop entirely by the end of this month. Last month, sorry, which is now in April. So after that will run dry, according to Iqbal Ahmed, the chair and chief executive of Pakistan Gas Support. We do not know when the next cargo will come in, he says. So it's and then, of course, buying LNG on the spot market, if you can get it from somewhere else, on the other hand, has become prohibitively expensive for poorer nations, leaving the wealthy Asian states like Japan, Korea, Taiwan in a much better position. But India, Bangladesh, Pakistan have already sunk to multi-year lows for this time of year. So plastics also, though, because we need
production of plastics.
Yeah, because we need naphtha, which comes from the refining of oil.
Well, that could be a positive effect of all
Well,
this.
yes, it is in that way for the earth, for the nature, but for the economy, it's bad because, particularly in Japan, because plastics are ultimately made from oil and natural gas liquids. Naphtha is the ingredient. So a petroleum product which has seen its price increase by 55% over the past month worldwide, and of which Japan has a rapidly thinning stockpile of, they could run out of naphtha very much sooner, quicker than oil. And they do a lot of stuff. I mean, think of their industrial base. A lot of it is, plastics and everything.
I know, but I personally see that as a good thing.
Yeah.
As a positive, it's very bad because lots of people are going to be, jobs and people incredibly affected. But that comes down to, that's part of the reality, isn't it? As far as a limited resource, you just can't keep making all this sort of stuff, and you can't keep making plastic-based products.
That's right. That's right. So, plastic is so ubiquitous, it's everywhere, and a massive number of companies are going to be affected downstream somewhere. So that means rises in unemployment, loss of GDP, unexpected shortages affecting customers worldwide. Your iPhone's got plastic in it. Everything's got plastic in it. And a lot of that comes from Japan. So that's the beauty of supply chains, when you're relying on something that comes from...
That's the issue of global economies, isn't it? Is that now that we are so dependent on multiple other international countries...
And then you get people saying, whenever there's an energy shock, batteries, solar panels and wind turbines are being touted as the solution, completely disregarding the fact that all of those technologies owe their existence to the very fuels that they claim to be replacing. You can't have any of those things without fossil fuels and natural gas. So instead of seeing a rush to add more renewable technologies, we'll see a sudden price spike affecting these technologies particularly badly. If we can get it, because they're going to become
part of it, as
scarcer.
you said, is the fact that you're not going to be able to make. You're not going to be able to make as many solar panels, as many.
That's right.
Batteries and
then, of course, because you don't have so much fuel, like in Australia, we use a lot of diesel fuel for mining, right? And sulphur is another thing that comes through the Middle East, which is a byproduct of oil refineries. Australia, we provide 26% of the global supply of bauxite and 38% of all iron ore and 49% of all lithium on the entire planet. I didn't realise that we had so much.
We do. Australia does. Yeah. No, it's a very strange thing.
But you need diesel fuel to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
And to transport it. And just think of lithium and iron ore and bauxite. I mean, they're in all things, like building, for example. So, everything, as you say, Cass, everything is connected. And
everything's connected.
Everything's connected, as we know. Yeah. All right. Well, oh my gosh, it's coming up to the end of the show, Doomsters. Thanks for tuning in. We will definitely be back next week.
And a special shout out to, again, we've been shouting out to Aldrin, but to Gwen and Wenel, who I know are also listening at this very moment. Thanks for listening, guys. And to Stephen B, who are always our most consistent listeners.
That's right. And
last song
then. And Hugo, because Hugo's chosen the songs tonight, I am going to be playing a Pavement song, Hugo.
Oh, I think that sounds great.
Yeah. And I was just talking to Hugo, actually. Steve might be interested in this because we do know Steve plays in a Pixies cover band. And I think they've got a gig coming up soon in Canberra. In April sometime. Sorry, Steve, I've forgotten the date. But it's coming up. And you're playing with a Nirvana cover band, I believe. And they have played with a Devo cover band before. But I was thinking, I was talking to Hugo about this, what about a Pavement cover band? You could call it Sidewalk or something like that. Anyway, Doomsters, as I always say, collapse is inevitable, we know that, but justice is not. We can still keep fighting for something. Make sure you look after each other, keep those local community relationships happening. And take care. We're going out tonight with Pavement, so it's good night from me.
It's good night from me.
And good night from me.
Good night, Hugo. Good night, Cass. Thanks for coming in and making sure I'm not lonely. And this is Pavement with Harness Your Hopes. And what a fitting song. Fitting, was that the word I was looking for? Apt. No, fitting.
Fitting apt. Maybe you're looking for...
Yeah. Harness your hopes, Doomsters, because we're in for a bumpy ride. And next week we might talk about some more problems that are going to be happening because people just don't get it. The mainstream media don't tell you.
I know. I'd also like to talk about maybe some of the other solutions and things you can work towards. Like maybe we can do a little bit of research during the week and find a little bit more about the Let's program, the
Let's. We should talk about that down here in the Bega Valley.
In the Bega Valley, which
Absolutely.
is the alternative when you go, if you want to step
That's
away
right.
from the money economy,
Exactly.
then look at how you can actually
When it
do
crashes,
community
we still got
trading
Let's.
and still, be able to function and get things that you need.
All right. So here we have the last song, Doomsters, Pavement with Harness Your Hopes.
Don't telegraph your passes, you'll end up with molasses, cauterizing syrup and molasses. And I'm checking out the assets that attract us to anything that moves. We're deep inside the grooves and it's time to shake the rations, cause someone's gonna cash in. The plot it turns again, the reference starts at 10. Show me a word that rhymes with pavement, and I will kill your parents and roast them on a spit. And don't you try to etch it or permanently sketch it, or you're gonna catch a bad cold. And the freaks have stormed the White House. I moved into a lighthouse. It's on a scenic quay. It's so far away from the beginning. The shroud is made of linen. The yearling took the purse. The goth kid has a hearse. Heartbreaking, earthquaking Kiwis, they are home baking. Minds wide open, truly. A leisure suit is nothing. It's nothing to be proud of in this late century. And I'm asking you to hold me just like